Good morning, my beloved. It is 10:50 Central Time. Once again, I had an issue with my Facebook Live going to a different site, and I had to have IT come and show me what happened. And for some reason, I was logged out, had to log back in, needed a password, all that stuff. So I apologize. We are looking at the test that everybody takes. And we're looking at it from my book, Ministry of the Armor Bearer, in which one of the chapters says the seven tests everyone will take. Today I want to talk about the test of becoming. In 1 Samuel chapter 16 verse 21 it says about David, he was called for by Saul, and it says, and David came to Saul, he stood before him, loved him greatly, and he became his armor bearer. In another place, after Saul is trying to take the life of David, David runs to the cave of Adullam, and the scripture says, all who were distressed, all who were discontent, and all who were in debt joined themselves unto him, and he became a captain over them. You and I, from the moment of birth until we close our eyes for the last time, are in the process of becoming something. And hopefully, we're becoming what we were designed by God to become, to be a light to the world. If you were destined to be a musician, to be a musician, to be a teacher, to be a teacher. We are all in the process, though, of becoming. I love the fact that it says that Saul sent for him and David came to Saul. That means Saul had to see his need for an armor bearer and someone to help him, and David had to see his need for being called. Both parties had to recognize I've got to do what God is asking me to do. I need to ask for help and I need to be that help. So you and I are asked by God, called by God to become something. And the question is, what are you becoming? Are you becoming what God destined to you to become, or are you off track? Have you missed the mark? Are you where you know you're supposed to be? It's interesting that there is a process here. He came to him. I have found, because I do a lot of work days here at the church, that I can only use the people who show up. If I have a work day and there's 15 people more qualified than John Doe here, but John Doe is the only one that shows up, I have to use John Doe. The other may be more qualified, may have more skill sets, but I can't use those who don't show up. And the fact that David was called for and he showed up allowed him to be used by God. So many people are waiting for a sign in the sky and they just need to show up. Show up every service and offer your help. Show up every meeting and offer your help. Show up on time and work while you're supposed to work. And it is amazing how the harder you work, the more lucky you'll become. Your boss starts recognizing you. You start getting raises. You start getting promotions because you showed up and you were present and you worked when you were supposed to work. It is amazing how those simple acts allow you to be seen by the people that matter, that can promote you, that can get you another raise or whatever it might be. David showed up. And then it says, and he stood before him. In other words, he was where the boss needed him to be. He was where he was needed at the time. Now, I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer, and I've made no bones about that. There are a lot of people more qualified than me, smarter than me, stronger than me, no more scripture than me. On and on it goes. But whenever the people here needed someone to step in, I raised my hand, send me in, coach. and I just outlasted everybody else. And they eventually had to send me in. And when there was a problem, I was willing to find solutions to the problem, willing to get my hands dirty to get things done that needed to be done. He stood before him. He was there when he was needed. And it says, and he loved him greatly. You don't love somebody greatly overnight. You have to show up again and again and again, and a love relationship is built. That ministry, that boss, those people know they can count on you 24/7, that you will be there when they need you, that you'll work when you need to be working. And if there's some overtime needed, you'll dig in there and get it done. He stood before him and he loved him greatly, and he became his armor bearer. An armor bearer is someone who you placed your life as a king or a leader in their hand. They carried your armor to battle. You needed a shield, they gave you your shield. You needed a sword, they carried your sword. You needed a spear, they gave you your spear. Well, if that person is in that battle with you, and many times they were, if you turned your back on them, if they were not a good person, they could slay you from behind. So you needed somebody that you loved greatly that you could trust. And trust is earned over faithfulness over a long period of time. He became his armor bearer. When it says that those people who were in debt, in distress, and discontent, sounds like the church, doesn't it? When those people joined themselves to David, he didn't say, I'm your captain. The scripture says he became a captain over them. It was a process. And I don't know if you know this or not, but if you have a position of authority, if you're leading others, it is because they let you. You have become their captain. You have become their leader. And so we are in the process most of our life in becoming something. And you may have already realized you're to become a teacher, but you can become a better teacher, a more qualified teacher, a more deep teacher, a teacher who affects more students. So you're continuing to grow. You're becoming more influential, more significant, and not just successful, but being significant and helping others to be successful. He became a captain over them. You and I are daily becoming something. My encouragement is to look and make sure you're becoming what you feel God has put in your heart for you to be. That if you're supposed to be the leader, then lead. If you're supposed to be the one behind the scenes that's making that leader look good, then be that person behind the scenes that makes that person look good. I promise you, God's paying attention and he will reward you openly, even if you're behind the scenes. There is a truth that behind every good man, there's a great woman. And behind every move of God, there are people behind the scenes that you don't know about that help make that thing come to pass. And if that's what God called you to, if you'll be faithful to it, you will be rewarded openly for what you've done behind the scenes. God is not mocked. He's not fooled. He sees your efforts and he will reward you. Stay the course. Become all that you can be, all that God designed and destined for you to be. Continue to grow. Continue to learn. Continue to find where your seat is on the bus. And when you find your seat, help the people that are sitting next to you to become all they can be. And you will be someone that everyone loves because you've helped them become a better person. You've helped them become what they were destined to become. I'm going to say hi to a few folks and I'm grateful. Thank you. And I apologize again for being late. I do not like that, but it is what it is. Thank you, Karen. Love you so much. Trey, hey, I hope you're doing good, buddy, after your surgery. Um, Let me see who else is here. That's awesome. Jimmy, thank you all so much. Hey, listen, I love you guys. Thank you for giving me a thumbs up. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for those of you that have gone over to my podcast and have subscribed. To please encourage others to do so. Look forward to seeing you next Monday, where we will look at, are you fruity or are you fruitful? Love y'all so much. See you then.